viewers. My name is Truonks, one of the hosts of the Aftermath podcast, and I'm here today with our Dota 2 team. Well, some of them, anyways. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I'm Zonex from Ontario, Canada.
Nice.
I am Albino. I am Zonex's younger brother, so also from Ontario. I'm doing good. I'm the carry player for Aftermath Esports Dota 2 team.
And then I'm Kerns. I'm from the US of A, and I'm the offlaner, the best lane.
You know,
Agreed.
we totally skipped off what Zonex plays for the Dota 2 team. So
Oh, my bad. I'm a support player.
nice.
Yeah.
And who are you supporting?
This season was Kerns. Last season was Albino.
Nice.
Yeah, I kind of switch around. Depends on who our fifth is. The fifth usually rotates in and out who it is. So.
You know, my first impression of you guys is when we had first started the org and we finally started to do game nights. Was probably one of the first times that I had probably met everyone. And Albino just comes in and I just hear all these stories about this little this young little gaming
nice.
crackhead who's just good at everything.
Guy's a gamer. I mean, we were doing the org night and the Valorant night. We came in, and this guy, games StarCraft, plays Dota like a madman, and then he just comes in Valorant and starts dumping on the Valorant team. I thought that was pretty funny.
I was like, holy shit, where did this guy come from? He can pick
Yeah.
up any game. It's just good. Just insane.
That's
It's
just
it's a little unfair because I'll go into these game nights be like, oh, I've never played the game, but I've played a lot of CS:GO, so you always get put in the worst positions. I'm playing Sage or whatever, but I'm buying shotguns and stuff. It's always fun.
So with that in mind, Albino, a question for you: have you always been good at games? What's the
Always been good? Yeah, I think so. When I was very young, 10 or 11, I was close to Supreme in CSGO, and I was always much better than friends. And basically any game I picked up, I was very good at. When I played StarCraft, about a year into playing StarCraft, I was GM. When I played Dota, it was 2 years, and I was Immortal. So I was never really bad at games at all.
Bro, me and Albino grew up together, of course. I remember when he was 6 or 7 years old. I just walked by this guy's room, and he's gaming on some crappy Mac laptop. This guy just has the craziest Minecraft world you'll ever see in your life. And this guy was always repping Pokemon, and this guy just farmed the game in, I don't know,
the
8 hours.
for yourself, Zonex? I know you used to be big on FPS and stuff.
Mm.
Do you feel I guess it's also a question for Albino, but as brothers, do you feel as an older brother you've had a big influence on his career and his interests?
I wouldn't say I had that big of an interest. He was actually the one who wanted the first console. Our first console was a Wii, like everyone else, other than obviously DSs and Game Boys. But we never really had any competition per se. I guess we'd 1v1 on Rust when we got our first 360. And of course, Albino would get farmed because he was 7. And I was playing the game pretty hard. And
See,
then-
I think about it differently. I always thought there's competition. Maybe it's because I was always worse or whatever, but
as a kid, at least.
growing up playing Call of Duty and all that stuff, I'd try and get higher rounds and zombies. Or when we'd 1v1, I'd cheat and I'd screen peek and all that to try and get an advantage. And it was always a little bit of a competition there.
Nice. So for Kerns, what has it been like to play with the two brothers here?
Oh, it's always a lot of fun. Whenever they lane together, they're always brotherly bickering, and you just feel the tension between there. But usually it's a good time. They just understand each other, and
Yeah.
it's always fun.
And then your start for gaming, how did that start for you?
For as long as I can remember, there's old home videos of me playing Super Mario Brothers on my dad's old NES, and I just grew up with gaming my entire life. My dad would have all of his friends from work come over and do LAN parties. They're big ass computers and dinosaur monitors. They'd bring it over, play CS, the original CS, and Call of Duty 1 and 2. They were just some OG DGen gamers that all just showed up.
Nice. Sorry, my, and then out of all the guys on the team, who's the oldest? Who's like the dad of the team? Would you say?
I think
Theory.
it's Theory. Yeah,
With Grandpa.
there's Grandpa Theory
Mhm.
in our hearts. I don't know. I'm 23. Albino's 21.
I'm
Oh,
20.
Nicholas?
Thanks
You're
though.
20. Sorry, close enough.
Yeah.
Prince, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so you got 2 years. And then we also had Sam on our team this year. He's probably in his mid to late 20s as well.
Okay, nice. How did the team like end up together? You know, because I like in stories from Carmi and stuff. I always hear about how like the team was like put together and everyone's fucking like cracked at the game.
It was
Um,
kind of random, actually. So the first thing, I think we met Theory through, we were playing Among Us during COVID. I mean, we were just like, Albino had a good friend of his was teaching him how to play StarCraft, and he happened to know Hawk, who's a big name in the StarCraft industry, and he knew Theory, and we were playing Among Us together really randomly. And Theory was like, because StarCraft started kind of dying around that time, and then Theory was like, "Yo, you guys should come play this Dota game with me. It's a lot of fun." And then we watched some videos. Suddenly, we started playing, and then the three of us climbed the ladder from like the trenches, and we got pretty good pretty quick.
nice.
And then we
and
picked up Corns on Twitter, sorry. And then
Yeah.
Sam was just an old friend, and he came in as well.
Yeah, I think I remember putting out the post on Twitter to recruit players for the Dota team, and I remember Corns' message, but I've never actually spoken to you, Corns, since recruiting you that time.
Yeah.
And like since like being on the team and being recruited, like, have you thought of anything regarding like esports and like your feelings for that?
It's always kind of in the back of my mind, like, oh, I could play at TI, I could be a pro player, but it always takes like little baby steps. You gotta find teams, you gotta play games, you actually have to like put in a lot of work to actually get to that point. You can't just automatically be a TI winner unless your name is Thompson.
And then Zonex, you talked about StarCraft a little bit. What do you think caused like that StarCraft scene to kind of like fade out a bit? Because I know it's been going on, and I think there's still big competitions though.
Yeah, so I'll give you my answer, and then I'll let Albino follow up because plays the game a lot more. My answer is that it started to die around when COVID started, and people wanted to play team games with each other. And StarCraft is mainly a 1 versus 1 RTS style game, and I think people really enjoyed the camaraderie of playing with a group of people on the same team. Albino might have a completely different answer. We usually have different stands on things.
I think that's close. I feel like the style of the game kind of died out. But also, what I don't like is, if you want to keep a game alive, you have to have lots and lots of viewers watching it. Like, you don't actually need to play the game to keep the game alive. Back when StarCraft was in its prime, there was players like Huck and Idra that would just beef and talk smack all the time. But now in the StarCraft scene, there's nobody like that. No one talks anything bad about anyone. But in Dota, people constantly are beefing, and it's interesting. There's interesting stories. So it brings in millions and millions of viewers to stuff like TI.
And Corns, did you ever play StarCraft? Like, what other games have you touched?
Before Dota, it was mostly just all FPSs on like console or just on PC as well. But I've never played like any RTS like seriously. I just never like drawn into those kind of games.
Okay. And for like the future of Aftermath, in like as an esports in Dota, do you guys have any aspirations or thoughts on where you want Aftermath to go?
Well, currently we just play in the Amateur Dota 2 League. It's like a community-run league. It's nothing through the game, nothing crazy yet, but like we're working well as a team, and the league has considered us a dynasty team because we keep playing with the same players. A lot of these teams come in with like whole different groups, and they make a lot of changes on their rosters and stuff. And you know, we play and we goof off and we have a good time. I think ideally, if we really wanted to try, we could get up there and we could play in higher levels. Maybe in the I can't remember what it's called.
The League of
There's, like,
Lads.
The League of Lads, yeah, it's like a much higher, more respected league where very high MMR players play against each other that just aren't quite good enough to get into the pro circuit. So it's interesting. Like we'll see how it goes. I mean, the game doesn't seem like it's dying yet. There's still a lot of money in it. We're interested to keep playing together, I'm sure. Even though I think we're taking the season off, but just everyone's really busy.
Yeah, and like any thoughts on perhaps maybe like one day grinding it out and trying to go for TI or like something at like that high of a level? Or
I personally would love to grind it out and try and be a pro player in Dota. It's very hard as a team that's never played professional Dota at all, because it's much different playing high level pubs versus pro Dota. So when you don't have that experience, it's very hard to break into that kind of high level gameplay. But I would personally love to try and be as best of a player as I can.
and then as like a scene itself, like what are your guys' thoughts on like RTSs and MOBAs? Like how does that look as a whole right now compared to like other scenes?
You know, it's a little hard to say. RTS, there's not a ton of RTS games that are still alive nowadays. StarCraft has fallen off a little bit, and we went to DreamHack Atlanta where we watched a DreamHack StarCraft 2 tournament just in November, and I don't exactly remember what the prize pool was. Maybe someone here knows, but it was like 1/100th of what the prize pool for the Dota TI is. Dota TI, I think last year was like $45 million was the prize pool.
I think it was only.
It was half.
It was,
They
half, it was
halved
like
it.
22 or. It was
They
like
halved
20.
it for the
Yeah,
last
halved
one?
it,
Yeah.
Wait, why? Because isn't it community funded?
Yeah, it just less community funded this year. Because like before, it
I
was
guess
year
that-
after year, it just
yeah.
kept growing and growing and growing, and this year was like one year that actually fell off.
They
Interesting. I didn't know that.
they ran the battle pass past TI. So usually they run it to the very when it ends, then the last game of TI is played. But they ran it a month after. So anything you purchased after TI did not go to the prize pool. So it was basically half the prize pool.
Nice. And I think they had canceled a year as well, so the 45 million was like 2 years combined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But still, I mean, the prize pool for the StarCraft event was like $100,000. That could be wrong, but it was around that number. Could have even been less.
Do you guys find that like games like RTSs like StarCraft or like any other RTSs, like is it a lack of like developer support, or is it like something else that's not allowing these games to get as big as something like Dota?
Yes, but it's been years of lack of developer support. I mean, they don't really fix the game. They don't add patches. They don't do anything to StarCraft. They barely change the maps, and the maps are community made. But it's been a long time of just bad decisions that just killed the game.
And then in terms of RTSs, I know we had talked about this a little bit previously, and I'm sure you guys are kind of relatively in the loop for it. Stormgate is a game that's coming out, which a lot of people have been looking forward to. Do you guys have any plans on like playing that, or hoping that we kind of touch the surface of Stormgate?
I'm not sure about Kerns and Zonex, but I heard it's very similar to StarCraft, and it'll be the new RTS, and there hasn't been a really good RTS in forever, so I'm definitely going to grind it. We'll see how good it is, because it has potential to be amazing, and if it is really good, I'll just play it all the time, even over Dota.
Zonex?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll play it. I have a lot going on. I'm a full-time student. I'm also a gamer that has a girlfriend, so
Unfortunate.
So, yeah, so you know, I just have a lot of things going on. I just don't want to add games to my plate. You know, it's like a lot of the boys play Diablo, and they always try and get me on there, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can jump down that rabbit hole right now. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll give it a try for sure. I'll play a game or two and see how it goes. If I really like it, then I'll play it. We'll see.
And like with everything that's going on in like our day-to-day lives, like do you find that you guys are all like super busy? Like I know Albino is young, but you're no longer in high school anymore. So what is that like when you guys are like trying to grind games with like your full-time jobs, social lives and stuff?
Well, I don't have a social life, so I'm mostly at work.
I was
I
gonna
come home,
say
play
the
video
same thing.
games.
Yeah.
Like other than that, like it's just finding the drive to play like ranked games and competitive games. So, you know, sweaty games is just like, I just kind of want to play some Dota and relax and just chill out instead of trying to get angry at my Peruvian teammates that they're yelling at me and I just don't know what the hell they're saying.
I used to know someone that played Dota, and she was like from mainland China, and this girl had like some crazy curses, like curses that my friends that are fluent in Chinese have never heard before. When she played Dota, she would like curse like your 18 generations of family and have them come back and like fuck your mom. Like it was insane. I was like, what is?
Dude,
It was just
people
straight
say
Chinese.
some
Like
people say some wild shit on Dota.
Oh, it's not safe. It's not like League at all. Where...
Dude, you make like one stupid mistake when you're playing with random teammates and you're getting called some really heinous shit. You're like, all right, I'll just try the game.
And you know, I like noticed that too. Like I tried to play Dota a little bit, and one, the game was like super difficult for like a new person to get into. There's not really much of like a tutorial, and I kind of had to like depend on my friends to kind of tell me what to do. But aside from that, do you find that like the community aspect makes it harder for new players to get involved?
It's not just the community definitely does not help because everyone is horrible. Everyone will yell at you. You will not have a game where your teammates are nice. And the game on top of it is difficult to learn for new players. That's probably the worst thing. But as someone who's played it for years now, it's also one of the best things because they don't balance the game around new players like a lot of the new titles do. They balance it around the pro scene and the players that are willing to play for years at a time. So that's one of my favorite things about it, actually.
And
I think Dota is a good game to play, to start playing with friends who already know how to play.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yeah,
learned how
you
to
need
play.
someone to know. You can't just download the game and start playing. It's too tough.
It's really tough without like having a friend who you just like know or just can play with all the time. It's just a lot more difficult.
and then Corns, with everything that we had just discussed, like what, I know you said that you play Dota casually, but it doesn't sound like Dota's a very casual game.
Mhm.
With everything that we discussed, like what made you kind of like stray away from like FPS games and start just to play like games like Dota, or like a game like Dota?
In high school, a lot of my friends on the cross country team, they all talked about Dota. They were talking about everything. It just got me so like hyped into it. It was the first thing I downloaded. I got a computer for Christmas. Then the night of, I downloaded Dota and played the next day, and haven't stopped since.
Did you
Nice.
play with friends when you started?
Yeah, I played with. Do you know Muggy at all?
No, I don't think I know.
I just played with my brother and a couple of his friends and some buddies from cross country, and that's how it kind of started.
As we're all like, I guess background with FPSs. Some of you guys have like touched Valorant briefly, but are you looking forward to like something like CS:GO 2? Is that something you guys would like play, or?
I don't know about CS:GO. I never really got into the original game. I don't know if I'll get into the second one. I did play a little bit of Valorant. I just kind of dicked around in silver and, you know, shot people. But other than that, I didn't really. I wasn't taking it seriously.
The only other FPS that I got kind of competitive in is Overwatch and Overwatch 2. Like I played Overwatch 1 a lot, and then stopped after, you know, everybody else stopped playing, and then Overwatch 2 came out. I was like, hey, I could play this again. Tried playing it. I haven't touched it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then for like RTSs and esports, like do you guys find that it's like necessary for like the whole scene itself to have like a good one, or if you feel like maybe RTS can like kind of sit in the background? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Really depends on the player base. Like like you have to know what people are looking for, right? I mean, Call of Duties have set such a specific route for people to play shooter games. Like, and then there's a million shooter games out there. I mean, Apex Legends was really big. I know it's fallen off a bit, but it's still doing well. Fortnite. There's still Fortnite players. People are still playing Fortnite.
Gross.
Like, yeah, I know. There's just so many shooter games. The Battle Royale idea has been huge. And people just kind of don't really think about RTS games. I think a lot of people just really like console. Like, people just love playing console. It's hard to play. I couldn't imagine playing Dota on a controller, although you can, fun fact. You can plug in your controller and play.
I need
Just
to
thought
do
that was
that.
interesting.
I'm gonna play some Pudge on controllers, see how well that actually works
Yeah,
out.
dude, it's like playing Roadhog on the 360 on Overwatch 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I know Michael, one of our producers here in Aftermath, he, like Carmi, myself, and him have been playing Apex a bit. And one of our old like Apex players, DJ, was kind of like coaching us, and we were in the range and we were just 1v1ing. And Michael uses a controller, and I could not. It was almost impossible to beat him. Like, he would get in my face and he would not miss. It was insane.
The aim assist is a little weird in that game.
It was
Like, it's
shit.
tough to. Yeah, it's like a never-ending debate in that game because people hate the aim assist. Sorry, my headset. I need to plug it in.
I think that's like a big thing with a lot of FPS games that have done like crossplay. Like even Call of Duty, there's some aim assist. So
Well, welcome back. Oh, he's
Um,
not back. Unfortunate.
What can you do?
cool. So with that in mind, we can kind of shift the conversation a bit back to Dota. And this is a question for all of you guys, but aside from the three of you here today, your other teammates that you had talked on briefly, how is it like playing with Theory, Sam, Arf?
Well, playing with Theory is sick because first of all, he taught me Dota. In the first games we'd play together, I would have 0 kills, 20 deaths. He'd be the opposite. He'd have 30 kills and 0 deaths, and we'd still lose because I'm on his team. So now being like a little bit, I don't want to say too much, but a little bit better than Theory nowadays, it feels nice. But also, Theory is very smart in games. Like, I'm more mechanically skilled in StarCraft, but I still can't beat him. I'm like 50-5 with him, or something like that. So he's very smart about games like this.
Yeah, he understands games. He understands metas and he knows how to use them. Like me, I'm just clicking buttons and using my spells on other heroes. He's like specifically trying to kill specific things. Like, he just understands the game a lot better.
And then Corns being like the member that was like traditionally, I guess we'll say like traditionally recruited. What has it been like to play with the rest of the team?
It's been fun. Like, you have this mid player who just plays like these cheese hero, the Meepo, the Huskar, and you have this safe lane player who also has this cheese hero. Like, we're just a cheese team.
Yeah, we really
It feels
are.
like we just have this cheese. Like, we have just like we
We're just
flex
this-
literally like every hero. We pick Nature's Prophet. They don't know where it's going. I've been playing Meepo now, so we're gonna flex.
Yeah, we have
Uh,
Meepo in 3 different lanes.
Yeah, we just have like we can flex Tiny. We're just like this ambiguous team that's just like, are they gonna pick Meepo this game? And the answer is probably yes.
What's the I guess the is there a meta for Dota, and like what does that look like?
Right now,
It's the
hard to put
meteor.
in.
It's
yeah,
the
it's
meteor
Meteor
hammer
right
meta.
now. They
Yeah.
lowered the channel time on it. Now literally every game there's at least like 2 or 3 bots,
Yeah.
and it's gonna change in like what 3 days now. New update on Wednesday, Thursday.
I think so. Yeah, new update soon. Before they changed Meteor Hammer, the item was a meme. I mean, no one bought it. You bought it if you were trolling, basically.
There's one hero that bought it.
Yeah, one hero. OD bought it, and now everybody buys it. Support.
Anything that has a
Dragonite,
stun
mid
is buying
laners.
Meteor Hammer.
Some carries buy it. I mean, it's not fun.
Miller was buying it on Spectre.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. I just don't think Blade Mail's better, but I don't know. Miller's his
And-
own man.
For like the I guess it would a hero, right, for Dota?
Yeah.
What's like the typical picks for that? Is it all the heroes like kind of have their own role? Like there's not really a specific composition that people will play?
Yeah, it kind of depends. Like every meta has really strong heroes. Like how often do they do a big patch? Like once a year sort of thing?
Kind of,
Maybe
yeah.
every 6 months ish, sort of that area. And there's always like 2 or 3 heroes that are really good, and they either get instantly banned or instantly picked. But other than that, like the game is pretty dependent on the players. Like you have players that specialize in heroes. Like Theory specializes in this Meepo hero that nobody plays. So we just pick this random hero, and then they pick like all these what they think are counters, and then we just walk across the map and win the game because they don't know what they're doing.
And like what makes Meepo like so unique and like different?
Well, he's kind of like fabled as like the hardest hero to play because he just makes perfect clones of himself who also has the same abilities. So at the end of the game, you're controlling basically 5 of yourself as you're trying to farm one each individual one. They each have their own spells. It's just very RTS. Yeah, a lot of RTS players like Meepo because it just feels like you're playing an RTS instead of a MOBA.
Interesting. So that makes Theory's brain like humongous. That guy's got to have like 500,
That guy's got an
1000
IQ
IQ.
of like 427.
And does Theory make most of the strats and the compositions for your team?
It's
That
pretty.
depends.
Yeah,
Usually, it was mostly up to Sam when he was on our team. Like usually Sam, he's kind of like the in-game leader. He's kind of like has that voice, makes the calls. That's kind of like how we kind of play with. But when we're playing with Arf, we kind of all gave our voice a little bit more, just because I think most of us aren't really kind of like that in-game leader comparative to like how Sam is.
Yeah, we just kind of picked based on what heroes we were playing at the time. Like sometimes you just kind of play a hero a lot because it's fun. And then we also picked heroes that were working well for us, and we also picked heroes that we were good at. Like these other teams were like, we gotta pick the super on meta heroes, and we gotta flex this, and we gotta be crazy. We're like, we're gonna first pick Meepo because why not, right? Like
First pick Meepo,
yeah.
Gyro 4. You know,
Yeah, we picked like these really
things.
We were really cheesy, and we still are. Like we just picked like these really weird compositions.
Yeah. And is that like a kind of cheese that like, you know, in Valorant when the game first released, like the Bucky was absolutely insane because you could like right click people across the map with it. And that was like the Bucky cheese. Is it like that kind of like OP cheese, or is it like annoying cheese?
It's not the same because OP heroes are not considered cheesy. They're just broken. Of course, everyone's gonna pick them. It's more like if the Bucky was nerfed and you were still buying it every round. That's what we do basically. But we're Bucky specialists, so there's nothing you can do.
We're just so good with the Bucky that we feel good enough to buy it anyways, right?
Okay. And like, do the other teams ever call you out for like trolling? I mean, you guys are like winning, so.
In the first season, this was a whole disaster on its own. There's like, you have to submit your Smurf accounts into the 82L league so that these teams know like, hey, people are playing on their main accounts, right? And then there was like some discrepancy on what accounts I submitted and stuff. And then they gave Theory a draft penalty, which means we had less time in our draft for our first match. And they suspended him for a game just because he plays a shit ton of Meepo. Like, that was basically all it was. Like, there was obviously a lot of other things said. And some random guy made a 15-minute video showing how 2 of our players were playing on the same account by, like, mouse movements and, like, our item positioning in our hotbars. It was the stupidest thing I've ever been a part of. It was silly. It was actually pretty fun.
Okay, wait, I need to hear more about this 15-minute video because I don't think I was like, I didn't know
One
that.
and only Hungry
I knew you
Phoenix.
guys.
Dude,
had gotten
Hungry
into,
Phoenix.
I knew you guys had gotten into like some shit with the league for some stupid stuff, but I didn't know they made a whole video.
It wasn't even the admins. It was like a random guy in the community was like, they saw our, like when we submitted our names and everything, you can click on our Dota buff, which is like the equivalent of some online site that just tracks your stats. Like, oh, this guy's a Meepo spammer. And then he thought that Theory's Smurf account happened to be... So Kerns was playing on Theory's Smurf account. because Theory didn't need it anymore because our MMRs got to the same range. And then, so the Smurf account MMR was higher than Theory's main. But, but they saw these Meepo games on the Smurf, but I submitted it as Corn Smurf, and then they're like, oh, well, actually, Theory's playing on this account too, so it's got to be his main account, and it's higher than his main. So yeah, it was a whole mess, but it was funny. Yeah, they thought we were trolling. They thought we were trying to bust the league and Smurf and cheat, and then we finished middle of the pack. Yeah.
How did you guys like perform that season? I think you guys did pretty well then, no?
The first season we did good, I think, right?
Made playoffs, right?
Yeah, we made playoffs. I think we won a series, and then we lost in the next series. So I think we finished like top 6 or something like that.
Nice. And I know you had talked about how Dota has like a lot of drama. Is like this like league usually a little petty like this with people in the community?
Oh,
Or...
yeah.
I think it's natural to Dota, where people like to cry, people like to complain, no one likes to blame themselves. So there's lots of like, is this guy smurfing? Is this guy cheating? Are they sandbagging their MMR? And it's every team goes through the same thing. Especially because lots of the teams in the league have been playing for so long in the league, like 10 years, some of the teams. So when you're a new team coming in, they're very suspicious of you.
But now that you guys are considered like a dynasty team, like a lot of there's no more of that for you.
No,
I'm assuming.
not anymore.
Yeah, they don't really bug us anymore. They kind of know. We had like some issue with ranked games played last season or something, and I don't know. They're just super anal over there. They just want the integrity of the league to be good, which I appreciate. But at the same time, it's like, guys, we're good people. Like we just want to play the games. We're gonna finish in the middle of the pack. We're gonna have a good time, and you know, like we want to win. We want to have fun, but like if you guys are gonna be on our ass about every little thing, it's getting annoying. So we'll see.
Are there like any funny stories to share regarding the league, or like any experiences besides from that one time that I'm aware of?
I have a couple funny moments from like drafting phases. People like they always ban Pango, they always ban Pango, but never Meepo, even though we like pick Meepo all the time. And like the one game I have on Pango, we lost. So it's like they keep banning this hero that we like never really play. And I personally don't even play Pango that much anymore, but they keep banning it.
Yeah, they just like I don't know. They just like in that last series, in that first season, I was spamming like the most basic hero in the world. Like I was playing like Jakiro. It's like Spitfire, shoot a stun, and then they banned it.
Ban it.
The
like,
first phase banned Jakiro against us. We're like, oh crap, what do we do? And then we lost.
Jakiro held us together.
What are like some of our signature heroes, and how have you found that teams try to like ban us out?
For me, it's Pango, and probably Nature's Prophet after that. And then recently I've been playing more Magnus, basically Magnus almost every game. Outside of that, probably just those 3 heroes for me.
For me, my best hero is definitely Lone Druid. And there's lots of Lone Druid banning that goes on in the league when they play against us. But I usually pick last or second last, so I get the opportunity to play lots of heroes. Whatever's best for the game, I'm able to play it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like we have like these really weird cheese picks. So these teams have to decide. They're like, because in the first drafting phase you have 2 bans, like before you start picking heroes. And these teams will ban like Pangolier because Kerns was like a huge Pangolier spammer. He spammed it to Immortal. Like you gained thousands of MMR playing Pangolier.
Literally just Pango.
And like he has like 800 games on the hero and stuff. So they see our Dota buff and they're like, all right, we're banning Pango, the guy who's 6K. Like we're gonna ban his best hero. And then they're like, okay, now we have to pick between Lone Druid and Meepo. And they're like, okay, we're scared of the Immortal carry player who picks Lone Druid, which is like a pretty cheesy hero. And they usually ban the Lone Druid, and then we're like, let's just first pick Meepo. Like, why not? What are they gonna do? and then they pick like some weird hero to counter it, and then we're like, whatever. And then they come and they use all their spells on the meepo, and then we kill them and win the game.
And he digs underground, doesn't die, and then they
Yeah.
lose.
For everyone else on the team, like, what are their usual picks?
Um,
Besides from
Um,
Theory, we know he plays Meepo.
Yeah, Theory, he likes TA, Huskar, Meepo. Arf really liked Gyrocopter. She would
That
just
was a
play
funky
Gyrocopter all the
pick.
time. She would always just buy the Ag Shard, and just rush in and just kill everybody and just solo kill everybody. And for Sam, he was always an IO enjoyer and a Clockwork enjoyer, so he would kind of like make plays and then also be like a more traditional 5 and just like support his carry.
Yeah, I always like the mercy of Dota. You just kind of follow someone around and heal them. But like nobody really plays it because it's a really strategic hero. But Sam was like unreal on the hero. That got banned quite a bit too.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't. You think that teams would pick like bad Meepo more, considering that I feel like a lot of your compositions are built around like playing off Theory.
Well, their thought process is
Well,
like,
I
They
don't
wanna-
think so.
They think they can beat it over just banning it.
Yeah.
But if they ban it, then they're wasting a ban on like the least popular and like the least picked
Yeah.
hero. So
There
it's kind of like a dichotomy between
there
them.
are lots of very good counters to Meepo, but we're actually not playing around Theory. Theory just jumps in, and everyone casts every spell on the Meepo because it's a
'cause
scary
there's
Meepo.
5 of them. There's 5 of them running at you. You're like, alright, everyone dump
So
your
they,
shit.
they cast every spell on the Meepo, and then me and Kerns clean up. Theory's died a long time ago, and we come in to clean up.
With that in mind, there are like quite a few clips and like little plays and stuff that we've seen, and you guys have made like really really fun edits for that we've like posted on our social media. Do any of those moments like particularly stand out to you guys at all?
Yeah,
Um,
there's the Corns montages they did.
Yeah,
They have
I
me
got
rolling.
Shadow Play on. I just record some funny moments and some good plays every once in a while, and those are always fun to go back and look at.
From like plays in like the AD2L league, was there anything that like really stuck out to you guys that you guys like to kind of go back and look at? I know there's a few that I know of currently, like the Corns Mars juke or
Oh, that was funny.
or
That was
Albino
really
like
funny.
cleaving the whole enemy team.
I personally, my favorite is my armlet toggle into the duel on the Mars in the river. That's personally my favorite.
That was silly.
And that Arc Warden showed up. He's just like, I'm gonna get him, then dies to overwhelming odds, and then I just armlet toggle and duel the Mars, and then TP out as 4 heroes wasted their time trying to kill me. Nothing happens.
Dota's a fun game with lots of weird little interactions. So some of them don't really stand out because there's always little things that happen. But there's a funny thing where one guy can ult and he uses a portal and he can portal to any place on the map. One time I was killing their base, so he portals his whole team back, but I took his portal and walked away and escaped all of them.
For Dota as a game, do you find that there's a lot of opportunity for like 1v5, for example, or like 2v5 or whatever?
Not really.
Not
Like,
1v5.
last-
It's pretty tough.
Last
2v5?
meta, not anymore. After
You
the
have to
recent
be
update,
super
you
farmed.
can't.
Like you have to
Yeah,
be
like-
really strong from early in the game to even have a chance. And there's only some specific heroes that can really do it.
Like you have to be a super fed PA or like Lena last patch where you just farm faster than every hero, did more damage, killed buildings, killed Roshan. You were just won the game by just picking Lena.
Yeah, you were just a standing turret.
Last patch, Lena was where you could 1v5, and then all your teammates would just buy 4 staffs and glimmer capes and ethereal, basically anything to keep you alive. They
They
just
just
pick
bought aura
stuns.
items to make so you don't die and then they die. They'd buy Grease, Vlad's offering, Pipe. They're like, all right, my Lena needs to live, and then she'll win the game.
And like for that like league, like do you guys have a game that was like super exciting where you like want to stand out at like your chair and like scream, or like any
Mhm.
notable
The Hellbears game.
Yeah, the throne defense is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
you guys
Probably
want
that game.
I
you
don't.
guys want yeah,
Let me see.
you guys want to like kind of talk us through like what happened in that game? Like, what's the story?
I don't remember it super well. I know, um, because who was I? I was on Night Stalker. Theory was on Queen of Pain. Albino, what were you on? You
I'm
remember?
a life
No, I
stealer.
don't remember. Oh, Life Stealer.
Life
Yes.
Stealer.
Yeah.
Uh,
Basically, we were really behind, and they came across. Actually, it was pretty even, but they came across the map to kill us, and we took like this crazy fight, and ended up killing them, and then walked across the map and killed them.
And that game went on for like a long time, didn't
yeah,
it?
That game was like almost
it was
an
a
hour and a
70
half.
minute
Oh
game.
yes.
It was a 70-minute game.
It was very
They were-
back and forth. I remember the game. So they had lots of heroes that countered some of our heroes, and we had heroes that countered a bunch of theirs. So they would come across, kill all 5 of us, then we'd respawn, kill all 5 of them. It was like that for like 80 minutes or something, 85 minutes.
71-minute game, or
Yeah.
could have been longer after we killed him here. Probably
Yeah.
like a 73-minute game. Yeah, but there was a couple crucial plays. Like there was like, of course, in the super late game when everybody has like refreshers and boots of travel, it's important to like stop TPs. There was this one moment where there's a fight just outside of our base, and we go on Sand King. He dies. He buys back immediately. He has boots of travels, and he TPs to a siege creep and forts it. Usually, when you fortify a creep, it doesn't die. But since I was Night Stalker with the shard, I was able to eat the creep, canceling his TP, and then we ended up winning the fight because they basically had to fight 4v5.
Yeah, they were missing their mid laner.
Nice. And did you guys end up winning that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And was that like a very like, oh, it's finally fucking over?
It gets to a
Yeah.
point in Dota, like 50 minutes, you're just like, all right, just get me out. I don't play another game. And then after that, you're just everybody's in misery. Nobody really wants to be there. And then when it's finally over, it just feels better.
It's
Was-
long, man. You're sweating your nuts off for 65 minutes, and you're like, all right,
Was
I need to take a piss.
was that like a really important game for you guys to win? For like your position in the league?
That was early in the season. This season. Yeah, it was this season. It was early in the season. It didn't really matter, but Hellbears ended up being a really strong team. So, we thought that they were kind of going to be middle of the pack, but they ended up being high up, and they finished like second or third in the league. So it felt really good to take that win off them. It kind of put a good statement out for us this season.
And like, where did you guys finish this season?
We didn't make playoffs this season. Actually, we finished. I think it was. It was the stupid tiebreakers.
Oh, yeah, we didn't play in. There were going to be tiebreakers, and we were the one team that didn't play in the tiebreakers.
Yeah. So
Because-
basically, it was like there was 5 teams tied at 6 wins in 8th place, and the top 8 teams make playoffs. But they didn't want to have one extra team, so we got cut out because we think it's because it's had this behind the scenes and they always hate us, but probably because we won the least games against other teams that were also in tiebreakers. Because we took a game off like 2 of the top teams, and then we stomped 2 of the bottom teams. So we never really played those mid-range guys. It was just kind of the way it worked. It was unfortunate.
It's too bad.
Yeah, unfortunate
Um,
matchups.
So the last question I have for you guys here is like, what is the best way that you find for beginners to get started in Dota? Like, are there any good like matches or players to watch? Like, any resources on like YouTube?
Probably a good place to start is watch Bradley Dragon, then do the complete opposite of that.
Valley Dragon's like he's like a lowest MMR streamer who just does dumb shit on stream all day. It's actually quite entertaining to watch. But no, the one thing that's really amazing about Dota and Valve and their client is you can go into the game, click on the watch tab, and you can watch the pros play in their pubs. Like you can just watch their games live as they're playing it. It's a great way to really learn heroes and see what the pros are doing. But the most important thing for me starting to play this game was knowing someone who played the game and knows the game. Like I had Theory on my side. He taught me everything that I know. And then from there, I just kind of got better from watching content. Shout out Mason Dota 2. And, you know, just playing the game. If you want to get good at this game, you have to play it.
Yeah, I think the best person to watch and who I watched when I started was BSJ. He's very good, kind of describes everything slowly and easily digestible for everyone. So he's a good content creator to watch. And then also I do highly recommend you know someone that plays the game. That's the most helpful, I think.
Nobody knows somebody that's like not an asshole that plays the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
It's somebody who will teach you the game, not just yell at you, calling you dog shit because you're new at the game. Like somebody who's actually going to be helpful and like actually be a friend instead of just get angry all the time.
And do you
What
guys play the
angry.
game like casually still?
Yeah, I play with some lower MMR people every now and again. Just have some fun.
Yeah, we still hop
Um,
on and we fart around on the game and just play the game for fun.
so
We'll be
if-
back in next season for sure if we don't wrap a team together. They just changed all the MMR ranges and stuff, so we fit in really weird with our team. We haven't exactly decided what we're gonna do yet.
Are you guys all like similar MMR? Or...
No, Albino and Kerns are very high MMR, and Sam was last season too. They're like 6K, and then me and Theory are like 4-4, 4-3. So we're like we're a little lower, but we still fit in well.
Okay. So you guys are saying that if people in our community were interested in learning from some high MMR players, you guys would be down to get some people started.
Yeah, we
I'll
played-
I'll pass this one off to Theory. Theory loves
Theory-
teaching new players games. It's
Yeah,
his
Theory.
favorite thing.
Me and Theory played a couple games with Lil Ma recently. She wanted
On
to come
Dota?
try. Yeah, she wanted to try the
Yeah.
game. We were playing with her for a bit. It was fun.
Nice. Theory's in the background right now, and he's like, he called people dog shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, he did call us dog shit, but I don't know. It was on live.
Yeah. How did the games with Little Ma go? Did she like pick it up pretty well, or struggling a bit?
Yeah, I mean the game's not easy to learn. Like I thought she played actually pretty good. It takes time.
She has
Bro,
like
she's
a
better than Zonex. Bite me, dude.
and it's like I think Lily has played like a ton of League, so
Mm.
I'm sure that point and click action kind of translate a little bit. I played a fuck ton of League, but I could not like, I don't know, I just couldn't do it. The
If
game
you
was
want to
too
play
hard.
Dota, just let us know in the team chat, man. We'll
Yeah.
get some games in.
You guys will carry me.
Albino will carry you. I will screw around and feed, and then blame my carry for not winning us the game.
It's a classic.
Well, I might have to hit you guys up for that at some point. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I have a lot of friends in like my real life that play Dota, and I tell people like, yeah, my friends are like 4,000, 5,000 plus, or like people on my org are like 4,000 or 5,000 plus MMR, and they're like, holy shit, that's really fucking high. Like they think 4,000 is already like super high, so it just goes to show how good our freaking Dota 2 team is. That's what's up.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the wise words of Mason Dota 2. He's a streamer. He's like a big meme guy. He's actually quite hilarious to watch. He said, every player that plays Dota 2 is dog shit unless you're top 200 or a pro. Yeah, so I guess it all kind of ties to the same. I mean, the game's just, it's too hard to learn on an individual basis because the game is so team-based.
And so I think we're about our 50-minute mark here, so we're gonna wrap up. But before we sign off, what's to come for like the whole team here in Aftermath and Dota 2? I know you guys said that you were gonna enter the league again. Have there been any other plans? I know we've had like a little bit of talk and trying to create some more little fun little clips and content from your guys' plays. But anything else?
Yeah, I mean, Corn says, I can't remember what the program is, but the more clips you get, dude, that mag clip in the montage, where you blinked in to the guys killing our throne, RP'd 5 heroes, dragged 5 heroes into our fountain, meteor hammered 4 heroes. Like that, you just don't see that shit every
And
day.
we still lost.
And we still lost it.
Yeah, because we're playing with Chavez. He's on Bristleback. So
Yeah,
we
we're
just
playing
have
with the
to lose.
Chavez bristle. Like, what can you do?
yeah, any like anything else to come? Any thoughts? How about you?
Probably just more Dota, trying to get better every day. That's about it.
Yeah, and we'll rejoin the league as well. This season's just a little weird. I think our timing's a little off for this season, and the MMR ranges are weird. So we'll see how it goes next season, and we'll probably be back in there like swimwear.
Has there been any other leagues that you guys have like set your eyes on?
Not specifically. League of Lads would be ideal, but there's some really good teams up there.
Well, I believe.
Like,
And like individually, anything else?
I always thought about streaming Dota, like ranked Dota, or like coaching sessions or replay analysis, but it's always so much time and so much effort, and it's kind of hard to start doing that and getting like the motivation to do that and finding the time while doing work and just trying to fit that into your schedule. It's kind of tough, but I always think about it. I'm just like, should I do it? It might happen. We'll see.
What about you, Albino?
I'm excited to play more with these guys. It's gonna be lots of fun. I feel like after last season, it's kind of unfortunate because we had just started playing very well as a team. So yeah, we'll definitely get back on it. I love to play the game. The game is one of the best games ever, so I'm gonna continue playing it for a long time. It's gonna be very fun next little bit here.
yeah, we'll get back out there. And right now we're just gonna chill, and then we'll be back into it. And I think the next season, the following season, starts in June, maybe July. We'll be back out there.
Cool. Well, we are going to wrap up here. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for just coming down today, spending the hour with me, answering my questions, and helping everyone get to know you guys a little bit better. But we will be signing out. So for everyone listening, make sure that you follow Aftermath Esports on all of our socials. We got Twitter, Instagram at AME Socials. We have a YouTube channel, Aftermath Esports.
Aftermath.
I don't like my TikTok, Aftermath Esports. And we also have our website too, aftermathesports.com. You guys can check out our Dota 2 roster and all their fancy little pictures. The 5 players there, all of their socials are linked. And you can also check out our community Discord, which we are getting started up. So we'd love to have new faces pop in and join these guys for some Dota 2 games. Let's go with Albino. Do you want to plug your socials? Where can people follow you?
I am SC2 Albino on Twitter. That is the only social media I use, so that would be the best place to follow me.
Zonex?
Zonex FPS on Twitter. I use other things, but it's more personal. But yeah, Zonex FPS on Twitter. Come follow me. I post nothing.
All right, Kerns, how about you?
Probably just my Twitch. It's at Kerns, and I don't use Twitter, so don't follow me there. And that's about it.
How do you spell your Twitch?
SKA. Wait, I forgot how to
Oh
spell
my
it.
god.
SKAKERN. Yeah, SKAKERN.
Nice. Perfect. I guess we can all say bye and thanks to everyone listening and watching. Appreciate it. And
Yeah, thanks for having us, Truonks.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes.